So guys, we'll start with the data handling, which is also called as the statistics. One of the simplest chapter. You don't have much, and there is not much calculations and all, and it's very simple. And also there's hardly any application also in this kind of problems. So let's see first, what do you mean by data handling? As the name itself suggests, it's basically trying to segregate the data or tabulate the data so that you can understand it better. Like if you watch cricket or any other sports, they show the statistics of a player. What are the average runs he hits in every match, or how many times he hit a century or a half century and all. So that's called as basically the classification of the data. Now there are two types how you can classify the data. The first one is called as ungrouped data. So what do you mean by ungrouped data now? Okay, say for example, we are talking about shoe size of some students in a class. So say if it is 6, then 8, 10, 6, 7, 7, then say 9, 8, then again 6, 7, 10, 8, then again 8, 6, 10, and then 7, 7, and then say again 7. So if you notice here, we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 observations are there in all. Now I have taken a smaller number so that it's easier for us to understand, that's why. Now how will you group this data? This is ungrouped data, so it gets difficult to read how many people are there, what are their shoe size and all. So what they do, they group this data. How do they group this data? We'll make the first column, which is called as you can write here as what? Shoe size. Then our second column is the frequency. Sorry, not frequency. We'll make second column as a tally marks. Okay, that is a tally marks. And the third one is the frequency. Now, what about the shoe size? So, if you see the data, we have got shoe size starting from what? 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. We don't have anything beyond this. So we'll stop here. Now what do you mean by tally marks? So tally marks is like when you keep on counting, you have to keep on making this. I'll show you what is the tally marks. So first you read, what is the first number? 6. So you'll make 1 stroke 6. Then 9, go to 9. Then 8 here. Then again 8, 8, 6. So 8, 8, 6. Then 10, 6, 10. So 10, 6, 10. Then you have 6, 7, 7. So 6, 7, 7. Then you have 7, 10, 7. So 7, 10 and again a 7. Now 7, 8, 7. Now see, when you already make 4 strokes now, for the fifth one you have to make a cross. That means it's a set of 5. Then what is there? 8. And then again what is there? 7. So one more stroke. Now what are the frequencies? So this will be say 4, this is 6, this is how much? 4, this is 1 and then this is 3. What is the total? 4 plus 6, 10, 14, 15 and 3, 18. So your total is equal to 18. That's your total number of observations, and here also we have total observations. The only reason I find this sometimes difficult is because you may go wrong in marking these tally marks. For example, by mistake, if I mark 7 here, okay, then what will happen? Your total will come same only, but your frequency may go wrong. So to be very careful, you need a lot of concentration to do this kind of problems. So if you lose your track in between, it gets difficult to understand that. Guys, now the next type of a data which you are doing is called as a group data. So this was whatever I mentioned to you right now here. It was ungrouped data. And then here we are doing what? Group data. So let's say in group data now, so I'm just giving you some data right now, some values. Say these are the marks which are obtained by some students out of 50. So say the marks they obtained is say 8, then 20, then 24, then 30, 35, 12. Then say we've got 9, then 24, then 36, then 48, then 41, and then 29. And there are some more numbers. I've written only these many right now. Now see here what happens, these are the marks out of 50. Now I cannot make columns like this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll have 50 rows then it will be more of a harassment. I mean, there's no point doing this kind of group data. So in these problems what we do, we make use of class intervals. What are they called as? Class intervals. Basically you make a intervals. So you make an interval that's 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and then from 40 to 50. These are called as class intervals. Okay. Now what we have to do in the class, okay, these are the class intervals. Then what we'll do in the next column, telemarks. Now see what you have to do in the telemarks. So in telemarks you have to start counting again. 8. So where will you write 8? Here. 9 will also come here. 20 and 24. Now the confusion is about 20. Where to mark 20? In 10 to 20 or 20 to 30. So remember 20 will come in 20 to 30. What does this mean? Your number will start from 10, but the last number will be just before 20. Then 24 will also come here. Again 24. Then 36. Then 30. Now guess where will 30 come? Yes, 30 will come here. Then 48. Then 35. Then 41. Then 12. And then this is what again? 29. So that would come here. Okay, now I'm just adding up randomly some more numbers just for our understanding. Okay, and the last column is what? Frequency. Okay, now how will you write the frequency? You have to just read. So tell me how much is each frequency? 3, 6, 11, 7, 3. Then there is something which is called as cumulative frequency. It is called as what? Cumulative frequency. So what we do in a cumulative frequency, you have to basically, first number will be same only, 3 only. Then what is 6 plus 3? 9. 11 plus 9? 20. 7 plus 20? 27. 3 plus 27? 30. Okay. If you add up all these numbers also, it is also called a sigma or summation of m. So if you write a w but which is turned, that is summation. It's called a summation. So if you'll add up all of this will also come 30. So remember the sigma f should be equal to the last number that you got in the cumulative frequency. Now the intervals which I have written over here, which I have drawn over here, these intervals are called as which intervals? They are called as continuous class intervals. Why are they called as continuous class intervals? Because look at these numbers, 10, again 10, 20, they started from 20. So 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. There is no break in between. That's why they are called as what? Continuous class interval. Now, in these intervals, this lower number here, 40, is called as what? It is called as lower limit. Guys, look. This is called as what? Lower limit. What would be this called as then? Obviously, upper limit. So you have to know this, what do you mean by lower limit and what do you mean by upper limit. Okay, now next thing, so we'll do one more kind of a frequency table. In this frequency table, what we have to do is, you have to, okay guys, look, in the next frequency table which you are doing, we have to, this is a discontinuous now. So last one was what? Continuous interval. This is a discontinuous intervals. See, I'll tell you what happens in this. So say first is what? Class interval. So we have got from 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, and 41 to 50. And you're also given the frequency. So say 6, 8, 12, 9 and 4. That's your frequency. Now these are called as which intervals? Discontinuous. So how can I make it continuous interval? How to make it as a continuous interval? So look at. So for making a continuous interval, there is something which is called as adjustment factor. Okay, it is called as what? Adjustment factor. What is the adjustment factor? Adjustment factor is basically the difference upon 2. Difference of what? Difference of the upper limit divided by the upper limit divided by the lower limit of the, or we can say what? Lower limit minus the upper limit of the previous interval. So I can do what? 11 minus 10 upon 2. I could have also done 31 minus 30 upon 2, 21 minus 20 upon 2. Any two numbers you could have taken. So 11 minus 10 is 1, 1 upon 2 is what? 0.5. So that's your adjustment factor. Got it? Now, how to make it continuous? So you have to subtract 0.5 from 1. You have to subtract this adjustment factor. What is 1 minus 0.5? You will get 0.5. And add a 0.5 over there. What is 10 plus 0.5? 10.5. I hope this is clear. Subtracting here, adding here. Again subtract from 11. What will you get? 10.5. So you got the same number. What will you get here? 20.5. Again 20.5. What will you get here? 30.5. Then again 30.5 and then 40.5 and so on. 40.5 to 50.5. So this is continuous interval, what we've done here. Okay. Now there is something which is also called as class mark. What is it called as? Class mark. Or it is called as mid value also. From mid value it is easier to understand. What do they mean? So what is mid value? Mid value is basically the average of that interval. So how will you find out the average of this first? 1 plus 10 upon 2, 11 upon 2, 5.5. Okay, now you try what is the class mark of the next one. It will come 15.5, 25.5, 35.5 and then 45.5. Did you notice any difference, some pattern? If you notice, there is a difference of 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 in all. Then there is something which is called as a class size. What is a class size? Class size means the numbers which can fit in this. See, last time I told you that the intervals were what? 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, they were all continuous, but this is what? Discontinuous. So do one thing, if you find the class size, you can directly learn from here, from the continuous intervals. So what you have to do? 10.5 minus 0.5, which is equal to what? 10. You can do any interval like 30.5 minus 20.5. What will you get here? 10. So that gives you the class size. So they may ask you like some kind of application. What is lower limit? What is upper limit? And what is the class value? What is the class mark or mid value? Or what is the class size? Okay. Now the next thing about the graphs. So you've got 3 kind of graphs to draw. One is called as a bar graph. Second one is called as a histogram. Okay. Bar graph. Then second one is for a histogram. And the third one is a frequency polygon. Okay, but frequency polygon is only there in the 9th standard. You won't have it in the 8th standard. and then there is a pie chart. So pie chart is also there only in the 8th standard. It's not there in the 9th standard. This is only for 8th standard, this is only for 9th standard, and this is there in both 8th and 9th standard. Okay, so we'll first learn about how to make a bar graph, or we'll first do a pie chart instead. Pie chart is also easy. So guys, let's start with the pie chart now. Okay, so we'll just write down the data first. I'll take down the data from the textbook. So see, you're given that how in this example they've given us how people travel to their school or to their offices, whatever they have given. So they've given the name of the vehicle first. So first column they have given is the name of the vehicle, how they travel. Okay, second thing, they have given us the number of people who are traveling there from some office or somewhere, whatever, some sample of people. So first they've given us that bicycle. So how many people are traveling by bicycle? So there are 10 people. Then by scooter, okay, I'll leave a line. By scooter there are 40 people. By car there are 60. By bus there are 50. And by train there are 80 people. So these are the number of people who are traveling. When you'll add up all of them, you'll find the total people who are traveling is equal to how much? 240. So in pie chart now, first thing you have to find out the central angle. Okay, we'll find the angle first. I'll tell you later on what is central angle. How do you find central angle? So you have to do 10 upon what's the total? 240 into 360. So you do these calculations, it will come to 15 degree. Next one is what? 40 upon 240 into 360. So it will be how much? 60 degree. Same way 60 upon 240 into 360. So it will become how much? 90 degree. Then again 50 upon 240 into 360. How much will it be? 75 degree. And the last is 80 upon 240 into 360. So what is that equal to? It will be 120 degree. If you add up all these angles, tell me how much should be the total of all these angles? It should be how much? 360 degree. That is the total of all the angles. Okay. Now, okay, guys. Now next thing. Now how to draw the pie chart. So to draw a pie chart, first you have to draw a circle of any radius, any convenient radius. You can take, I think, 4 centimeter or something. That should be good enough. Or take 5 or something. I'm taking just randomly any radius. So there is no any fixed rule to draw a what radius you need to take. You can just draw a circle of any radius. I messed up. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so guys, a little bad circle, but yeah, got it. Guys, so this is a circle, and also mark the center carefully. This is a center. Now what is the first angle we need to draw? 15 degree. So what we'll do, we are going to start from here. So first you keep your ruler over here, and we'll mark this horizontal line. So we are going to start counting from here, from 15 degree. So first angle is of 15 degrees. So guys, you need a protractor to draw all this. If you don't have, go pause the video and find a protractor. So we'll mark what angle first here? 15 degree will come here between 10 and 20. You have to look at the inner marking, guys, out here. Clear? We are looking at which one? The inner markings of this. Guys, 1 minute. I'll make some adjustments so that you are able to see the pie chart more clearly. I'll make some settings. 1 minute. Okay, I think now you can see the circle more clearly, right? Okay, so guys, see, first I have marked how many degrees? I have to mark first 15 degrees. So you keep the protractor here, and I have made a marking of 15 degree here. So you have to start from the inner circle, guys, here, from the inner 0, 10, 20. So I mark between 10 and 20 what? 15 degree. Now 15 plus 60 is how much? 75. So I'll mark an angle at 75 here. Correct? Now 75 plus 90 is how much? 165. So go to 165 here and then do another marking. Correct? So we've got already 3 angles. First one was what? 15 degree. Then next is what? 60 degree. And then again here what is there? 90 degree. Guys, you can also do what, you can keep on rotating your protractor and then mark 15, 60, 95 also is fine. But I just did it this way. I felt this way easier. Now the other 2 angles were 75 and 120 degree. How to mark 75 from here? So look, first again adjust your protractor. From where are we going to draw? We are going to draw from this side, right? So start looking for the angle 75 degree from here. So between 70 to 80, I'll mark what here? 75. So this angle is a 75 degree and the remaining angle should be how much? 120 degree. So if you want to check how accurate you are, you can check the measure of that angle. So if it comes 120, it means you are correct. This is 15 degree. This will be how many degrees? 60 degree. Then this will be what? 90 degree. Then here 75 degree. And then out here how much? 120 degree. Got it? So yeah. So this is how you make a pie chart. You don't need to shade and all. But what you can do is you can just write inside this how you went. So this was bicycle, then this was what? A scooter, then this was a car, then there is a bus, and then there is a train. Okay. So yeah, this is how you need to draw a pie chart. Guys, now the next one that we are doing is a bar graph. Bar graph, and one more is a histogram. So wait, I need to get a graph book for a bar graph now. Yep, got a graph book. Give me 1 minute, guys. Okay, so here is the graph paper. Now guys, how to draw the bar graph? So for that, 1 minute, I need to make some adjustments. Okay, let's see for how to draw a bar graph now. We will have to, I'm just drawing the axes and all first. I'll show you later on then how to draw a bar graph. So first I have drawn the x-axis and the y-axis. So this is your x and y axis. Clear, everybody? Now, so in a bar, for example, like the data which we took in the last time, we had drawn a pie chart for this, right? So what we'll do, we will draw a bar graph for the same thing. So in a bar graph, basically what we try to do is you leave, like we'll make one bar for each. There are how many? There were how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 different modes of transport. So we will make a 5 columns here. So like the first one is here. That will be what? This will be your bicycle, then scooter, then car, then bus, and then train. So this is your x-axis. I hope you all know what is an x-axis. This is called as your y-axis. So that's your x-axis and that's your y-axis. Now, here we'll write what? Mode of transport. That's on x-axis. Then what do you have here on the y-axis? So we'll write number of people or the number of vehicle, whatever was given in the question. Number of vehicle, I think. Now the highest number we had was 80. So what we'll do, we'll mark these as say 10, 20, then mark what here? 30, then here 40, 50, 60, 70, and then over here 80. Okay, now bicycle. How many people are traveling by bicycle? 10 people. So you have to draw a bar only till where? Till 10. So your bar will be this much only. So that's your bar for 10. Then what's the next number? 40. So you go to 40 now. So your bar is at 40 here. Then next one is what? 60. So this will be what mark now? 60. Then next is what? 50. So one second, there will be confusion. I had marked what over here? Second one was what? Scooter was what? 40. So I'll just mark 40 here, they'll get confused. Okay guys, you don't need to do this shading and all. I'm just doing right now so that you can see it clearly. That's why I'm doing this. But it's not compulsory that you have to do it in the exam. I think you don't have to do it only rather. So first one was bicycle, second one was scooter, third one is by car. By car there were how many people? 60. So here again you have to do the silvering shading. Then next one is what? Bus, which is how much? 50. So over here I'll draw for bus. And then guys, the last one which you have to draw is for train. So this was the bus and the last one is the train. So in train again how many people are there? 80. So that's the highest. So we'll go to 80 here and then draw. Guys, now what is the so this is, we are done with this. Just one more very important thing which is left out here is writing the scale. So that's the common place where most of the people have been losing the marks. So we'll write the scale also. You should always write the scale on the right side top corner. Okay, but right now I'm writing somewhere in the middle so that you all can see it clearly. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see if I write it on the right top corner. So we'll write the scale over here. Now what is a scale? So there are two scales. One is for x-axis. So if you notice, for x-axis what I did, each is what? Mode of transport. So we'll just write x-axis represents what? Mode of transport. And y-axis now. On y-axis, what is our scale now? So on y-axis we have assumed that 2 centimeter, look here, this 2 centimeter is equal to how many units? 10. So I can say 2 centimeter is equal to what? 10 units. Got it? So we are done with the bar graph. Now how to draw a histogram. Okay guys, I'll show you how to draw a histogram. Histogram is also quite simple. Okay, so I'll show you histogram in the class only, guys, when we are doing the thing. Okay, while we do the explanation, I'll show you histogram then only. So we'll stop it over here only.